Hi, my name is James Gurney, and I want to talk to you about a way of painting that's very direct and allows for correction, which makes it perfect for painting moving subjects like this husky mix here named Smooth. So let's get started. My philosophy for setting up the easel is to get everything as close to my line of sight as possible. So I have my watercolor book, my brushes on the left, and my palette right below the watercolor book. The colors of gouache are white, yellow ochre, flame red, and anthraquinone blue. That blue is really good for mixing blacks, so I don't need to use black on the palette. Now I just go for the main lines of the pose quickly with a round brush. And the watch is there so you can see the time lapse as I go along. I didn't like the start, so I'm going to start again. And that's not hard to do. Just rub it down with some water or with a big flat brush, and I have a new surface to work on. I just ignore the previous drawing and work directly over it. I want to use the corner of the brush to put down spots and dots. And this shows you how this technique works. I can just use that corner to paint the edge around his face, his eye, and his nose, and that gives me a real good idea of where his face is positioned. And if it's wrong, it's easy to fix. I don't need to do a lot of lines around it. Now I notice that the back end of Smooth is too long. The whole body is too long, so I can make corrections and kind of cut off the back area to shorten up his pose. I'm using that brush for the top line of the ear. It looks sort of like weird antlers or something, but what I'm thinking of is that black line at the top of the ear. Now the whole process moves along through the afternoon, and I can try to get a few insights when he moves either his feet or his head in a similar position, but basically I'm working from memory. This way of painting I call painting by spots and dots because it involves laying down shapes quickly with a brush in gouache, which is opaque watercolor, and it allows you to make changes as you go, to make corrections. He's at a different angle now, so I'll pick up on his coloration. I can adjust the legs because they're a little bit out of position, a little too far down. So I'll just paint them over. The gouache dries very quickly, just in a matter of minutes. Now, since he's in different poses, I can pick up a little here and a little there. Here he is in real time. Whenever I mix a color on the brush, I look for another place to put that color. So I have a white mixture here, and I'm using it for his fur in the back, and I can put it on his legs. In fact, I'm keeping about 4 brushes going. One color for the light parts of his fur, another color for the darker parts of his fur, and then one for the background color, and then another one that's a wet blender. I'm also using some colored pencils. Once the gouache dries, which only takes a few minutes, I can use the colored pencils to give me a little texture, a little more chroma. And I can do fine lines, especially light on dark with a colored pencil. Hey buddy, how you doing? Aw, you having a good time? Good boy. Well, Smooth has been good, so I'm going to give him a treat, and I'm going to show you a trick. Say bark. There you go. Good boy. Now this trick involves wetting the gouache and putting a soft area into it. And this is why gouache is so nice, because it re-wets. So I can put down a little water using this cat tongue brush, which is made of squirrel hair. It's a connoisseur Rissalon oval wash. And this holds a lot of water, but it doesn't have any spring to it. Now this whole process has taken about an hour and a half, and that's a little bit longer than I would usually do for a quick sketch like this. But let me show you another sketch which is much faster. This is just sitting in the back seat of the car driving to dog park, and Smooth is sitting next to me. I try to pick a pose that he's likely to return to. First I paint him with his mouth closed, and then I make him with his mouth open because he's hitting that pose more, and I'm interested in the way his tongue fits over his teeth.
Oh, we'll play by ear. Yeah. You're the expert on it. Here you go. So cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like a balloon or something.
Yeah.
This painting is done over a base color that's primed in CASEIN, and that CASEIN, which is another kind of water-based paint, won't pick up with additional layers. Now one more example of this approach I did here on the train going into New York City. There's a lady sitting over next to me, and she seems like she'll hold that pose for maybe half an hour or so. So I can start out maybe with a quick pencil, colored pencil lay-in, and then do some washes over it, and I can make corrections as I go and try to fix the mistakes. So as you can see, this is a strategy of painting that allows for corrections and for improvisation. The key to painting from something that moves all the time is to try to train your memory to lock a certain pose in your mind, and then look for moments when that pose returns, and if not, just do your best to reconstruct it. But gouache is perfect for this approach because it is so flexible and it's so good for quick improvisation. I have a couple of different videos related to this topic. One is on painting animals from life, and another one is painting portraits in the wild. Remember, the most important tip of all is to have fun, and remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a sketchbook. Let's go, Smooth.